this bill is very timely, that it has taken long for us to actually bring such a bill to this house, and I'm proud that it actually finds me in this house. And especially, Honorable Speaker, the issues of land, unfortunately, have become matters that are split between national government and the counties. And I'm sorry to say, I don't think the counties have handled this matter as well as it should. So I believe this is the beginning of the national government starting to take charge. Honorable Speaker, just before I proceed, the leader majority was moving this bill. He took a bit of a swipe at me and mentioned that I may not be too happy with him talking about some individuals in Ruto who will soon be paying rates. But I'd be quick to remind him, even in absentia, you know, the law is a double-edged sword. It applies to everyone. It cuts both ways. So anybody, it is not just the people who have been former presidents, even current presidents and future presidents, and big landowners will be subjected to this bill. So it is a good bill. And Honorable Speaker, the only concern that I think that we must, and it's good that the chair of the Lands Committee is here. My only concern is whether we might end up having a conflict with the counties on this issue. We wouldn't want this bill, after going through all this, we end up in court. So I'm hoping he's liaising properly with the legal team so that we don't have counties trying to fight us on this issue. But I want to support it. And this, Honorable Speaker, this is the reason why some of us refuse to support the finance bill, or more importantly, why I was opposed to the housing levy. Because, Honorable Speaker, for us in Nairobi, and more so for what in my constituency, known as Molem, I want those people to be given title deeds. They don't have. That ward has 89,000 people, and yet about 65% of it is unadjudicated. They don't have titles, so they don't pay rates. If you could give those people title deeds and collect the rates as per this bill, I assure you the 1.5% you are seeking, in that ward of mine alone, you will collect more money than you needed from the entire Nairobi, just for that 1 year. That is something I can assure you, because I'm telling you, it is the third most populous ward in Nairobi, and yet so many of us have developed there, we don't have title deeds. So this, when we spoke about expanding the tax base, this is the perfect example where people will appreciate that when you give them the title deeds and you collect the rates, and something that the committee must think about, and I'll be present here to contribute, especially during the committee stage. How do you collect rates from land that does not have titles? But the people are there. They are benefiting from sewage, from water, from street lighting. And if you start charging them rates, it gives them a sense of ownership of that certain piece of land that they have there. They are demanding for roads and all these things. It is something that maybe the committee, I'm sorry, maybe during public participation, that would have been the right place to bring in this issue. But it is worth considering, especially when we are talking about regularization in Nairobi, where people have built houses on land that some people claim it is theirs, where nobody is claiming. I'd ask the land committee, be bold, be brave. I have a motion coming. Give people those titles where nobody is claiming. Where there is a dispute, let us have a regularization plan where we give these people titles and eventually you get to collect your rates. If you were to do this, you'd not even be thinking of the 16% VAT on fuel. The other issue, Honorable Speaker, is the issue of developed land and undeveloped. And that is very key, even right here in the CBD. We might not agree, even as members of parliament, Nairobi, even my colleague from Starehe, because there are parcels of land in Nairobi that are undeveloped. You have one that is used as a parking area right next to the High Court. Very prime. The value of that land is probably 3 to 4 billion Kenya shillings an acre. And right next to it, you have the Insurance Plaza, you have KCB. Should these two plots of land be paying the same rates? I don't think so. Of course, you don't want to punish the person who's not developed, but you ought to push them a little bit so that they're encouraged to develop that certain piece of land. So how we are going to look about rating even across Nairobi is something very key. And one of the biggest problems, Honorable Speaker, we have in this county government, I am an advocate. I was admitted in 2012. I've practiced now for over 10 years. I can assure you, there are parcels of land that we are still trying to get their rates. And it depends with the officer that you see at the Ministry of, at City Hall. So one, you'll be told to pay 10,000. Another one will ask you for 100,000. And in between there, the kickbacks are more than even what goes to the county government, what is collected. That is one of the biggest problems that we have with the county. So that is why this bill is so timely. It is so timely that we can now start thinking of if we're going to charge rates different, especially in Kiambu, Nyeri. I wish those members were here. Honorable Speaker, Kiambu is in danger of losing all its agricultural land. In fact, I expect the only areas going to be left is the sides of Limuru on that other side. This other side, all of it is disappearing to developments. Yet is suffering the same problem, same as Muranga, all the subdivisions. Honorable Speaker, even the land that my grandfather left has been subdivided between my grandfather's children, my father and my uncles. And this is one of the things that we want to discourage. And I believe how we deal with this bill, it is going to assist us. How do we ensure that we even reward those people who dedicate certain portions of their land and have decided to plant trees? They've literally created a forest on their piece of land. I believe this rating act should reward those people in light of climate change. So, Honorable Speaker, I know there are members who want to contribute, and I'm looking at the time because I think they deserve 10 minutes each.
Don't worry about time. I know Honorable Moade will be speaking next, followed by Honorable Nabulindo.
Yes.
And then whether Parliament likes it or not, we will adjourn for reasons that you know. Look at clause 16 of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, unfortunately, I don't have it in front of me here. Perhaps you would remind me what it reads.
Yeah, it says I should never do, but it says the system for payment of rates will be established by the county executive committee. I want your view on this because you are saying the counties are collecting a lot of money and expecting a lot of money from the national government.
Correct.
But the money they collect, you know the report of the auditor concerning the last, two county governments of Nairobi.
Yes.
For 18 billion or so alleged to have been lost. Should this system be developed by the respective county executive committees?
I think, Honorable Speaker,
or Kenya Revenue Authority, if we are expanding the tax base and we want this money to be accountably, remitted to the national kitty?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I have a direct answer for that issue. We've already given the counties, as we speak today, have the mandate for collecting these rates. They have failed, Honorable Speaker. As an advocate, I can tell you for sure, I have struggled, especially with parcels of land coming from Eastlands, or parcels of land where we could not find a rates clearance certificate for the last 5 years or so. So you end up in a situation where you have to bribe your way in order to get this clearance for City Hall. Honorable Speaker, if we can allow, the Kenya Revenue Authority has good established mechanisms, and we've just recruited even more individuals who are supposed to assist with tax collection. I think it is important for the committee to relook at this. As long as just 1 minute, one minute, as long as we
Who is sabotaging Honorable Mwenje and for what reasons? Let him have the mic.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'll just be for 1 minute. As long as we can effectively collect, and I think KRA has done it effectively. I know the counties might want to compete with us, but KRA is better placed. And more importantly, we saw it especially here in Nairobi, when Mike Sonko was the governor, and he agreed to hand over some of these services to KRA. And at that point, even when MMS came into place, there was more effective collections of rates and revenue, especially in Nairobi. So, Honorable Speaker, I think this is a bill that could change the face of this country, could collect the revenue that is needed for the counties, so that we ensure the counties are not complaining they don't have funds. And with that, Honorable Speaker, I beg to support. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mwenje. Honorable Julius Mawathe, you are recognized. Proceed.